So I am upgrading from a Line 6 Pod Go to a Line 6 Helix LT. Now, there are a lot of reasons for me upgrading to the Line 6 Helix LT because there's a lot going on here. And I needed to make a whole video going over all of the differences between a true Helix and a Pod Go. There are very many things that are different here. And to describe that to you, I would go to one of my videos here. So this is a video I made a while back about how to get a good Line 6 Pod Go tone for lead. Now, I am very particular and I want things to sound a certain way, and I cannot get the Pod Go to sound the way I want it to sound. For instance, in this video, I can't put the right effects in here. So let's go over this whole process here. And the processor comparison chart is very useful to help us out here. You can see the Pod Go is here and the Helix LT is here. You can see all of the differences here. So what are the major differences? Well, with the Line 6 Helix LT, I can add 32 effects. Doesn't matter what they are, 32 effects. That is amazing. On the Pod Go, you are only able to do 4 discrete effects, and that's all you have. That's all you can do is 4 discrete effects. Now you can add more effects, but they will be they'll be in the form of equalizers or whammy extensions, but those I don't really classify as the same thing. In the Helix LT, you can have a total of 32 completely different effects and up to 4 amplifiers and 4 cabinets at the same time. With the Line 6 Pod Go, you can only have 1 amplifier and 1 cabinet, and that's it. You can have dual surround. You can have not surround. You can have dual stereo effects like stereo. What am I trying to say? Not reverb. Well, actually, yeah, you can have stereo reverb, but you can also have stereo delay. And so something that I like to do a whole lot, I like to put a slapback delay followed by a reverb followed by a long delay. I love doing this in everything that I play. Literally every single thing I'll ever play in my life has to be a slapback delay followed by a little bit of reverb followed by a long delay. I have to have this in my loop, whether it's really clean tones or whether it's very loud Line 6. I mean, we're talking like a lead tone like this video I made. I have to have these 3 in the loop. So I'm up to 1 effect that I can use. That's a huge limiter to me. Okay, let's talk about the lead tone. So the lead tone that I use here has those 3 effects with an equalizer to help, equalize things. Because if you start doing equalizer in the amp or in the cabinet, you start to get a little bit of it doesn't sound right. So I like to use a very precise 8 effects, like a 8 switch. I guess 8 band EQ. I like to have an 8 band EQ in my set. So that's 4 effects, followed by, I don't use an effects loop. So that one's completely out of the loop. I don't use a whammy. I don't barely ever use my whammy for anything. I have a pitch shift for my whammy, but I don't use it all that often. So I usually have it off. So I can't replace those with anything. And in front of the loop, I have a distortion pedal. I have an 808 distortion pedal. So I'm completely maxed out right there. I can't add anything. I can't add chorus. I can't add a phaser. I can't add another amplifier to make things sound like they're kind of a little off tone a little bit in both ears. Just a little bit. You can even do a little bit of pitch shifting and stuff with the Helix that you cannot do in the Pod Go. This is the Pod Go. This is all you can do in the Pod Go. And that's a whole lot of stuff. That is a ton of effects. And it sounds phenomenal, but it's not for me. There's not enough here to keep me in the Pod Go ecosystem. So I'm upgrading to the LT. Well, what do I get with the LT? Let's look at, for instance, my Eric Johnson tone. If you've been part of the channel for a while, you've seen some of my videos, you've seen that I like to play Eric Johnson's type of clean tone. Well, if I want Eric Johnson's clean tone, I have a lot of problems getting his clean tone because I've watched a lot of Eric Johnson videos. I know exactly what he uses. Okay, he has a slapback delay. He has a long delay in a Memory Man. He has a really small, thin reverb, but that reverb is actually attached to the amplifier. So I have to have 2 reverbs and 2 amplifiers because he has 2 amps and 2 cabinets. He has 2, I think, twin reverbs in stereo, and they're both modified slightly. So you can't do that with the Pod Go. But on the Helix, you can set 2 dual twin reverbs with 2 specific different reverbs going to those 2 different cabinets. I can add chorus to one of them, which is what he likes to do. He has a lot of other effects that he puts into his loop, including he has distortion in his main lead tone. He uses he has like a Boss distortion pedal and a fuzz face, and he also uses tape delay, but he only has it in one Marshall. So it's really bizarre stuff. And I like to look at like his setup because I'm looking for that tone, and I can't do any of that with this. I can't do any proper Eric Johnson tones without having just a little bit more. I need just a little bit more, and this won't give it to me. So that's why I'm urging people to go step up to the Line 6 LT. It is a lot more expensive, but you can do almost anything with it. It's a mature platform. And now I wanted to go off on a tangent. Video's over, by the way. I'm just going to go on to some tangents and go on a little bit of a ramble. If you liked the video, liked it. If you disliked it, dislike it. Leave your negative comment. That's fine. I'll ghost you. I won't answer back. But the thing is, I looked at all of these other effects processors, all these other amplifiers that are like this. Fender just came out with their Tone Master, and I was really interested in it, but there's not a lot of detail on their computer application. I love using computer interfaces to fix pedal stuff, all right? I don't want to bend down and, tweak it. I don't want to do any of that. I want to keep it on the ground and edit everything in my computer and listen to it through my computer. And I don't know for sure if I can do that through the Tone Master losslessly with no like added distortion or added delay that a lot of these effects processors usually have a slight amount of delay. Well, if I'm getting Helix LT, it's going to be just like the Line 6 Pod Go. So I'm already there. If I'm going from a Pod Go to a Helix, it will be easier for me to adapt to their system because it's going to have the exact same amplifiers, going to have the exact same cabinets. It's going to have the same effects, most of the same effects. I already know how to set this stuff up. So I can literally get a Helix, put all of this stuff into the Helix software like I have right there, and there you go. And it should sound identical, and then I can build from that, which is awesome. I was thinking about going with the Quad Cortex as well, but the Quad Cortex is really expensive, and to me, the clean tones that I've heard, the clean tones don't really sound that great. The Quad Cortex is really good at metal. A lot of metal bands explicitly use Quad Cortexes. I know Megadeth did for a while, and a few other like really good bands started using Quad Cortexes for their metal. But for clean tone, I wasn't a huge fan of the Quad Cortex. But I hope the Helix works out for me. But this video just was going over like the differences between a Pod Go and differences between the Pod Go and the Helix LT. And the reason why I went with the Helix LT, it should be a very good amplifier. I shouldn't have many problems using that amplifier for anything. But we'll see. I'll make a full video on how to make a good Eric Johnson tone when I get it. And that you should be looking forward to that, because it's going to be a really interesting video, and it's probably going to be an hour long, me going through and tinkering everything just to get that perfect Eric Johnson clean tone. I'll come back and try to get his live tone, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. But with the Line 6 Helix, should be very good. One last thing. The Line 6 Helix, the reason why I went with the Line 6 Helix LT over the floor or the rack or the Stomp, because the Stomp XL, the rack, and the floor, their price ranges are all over the place. And the floor and the rack are extremely expensive, but they're only expensive because they have different like external inputs and like inputs and exports, and like inputs and outputs and all that. I don't need all of that extra stuff because I don't even put anything in an effects loop. The only thing that I would need from the Helix LT is a SPDIF out, and it has a SPDIF out. That's awesome. Where is it? Yeah, it has a SPDIF out, digital out. It also has a what is it? AES out. Like, I don't need anything more than that. I don't need all of these little special things. Like, I don't need digital ins because there's no reason for me to have a digital in. Like, I can do all of my digital in through USB. So why? I don't know. Buying the floor doesn't really make a whole lot of sense unless I'm like gigging. Like, if I'm like a real gigger and I need all of the outputs that the floor has, cool, I'll go with that. But I don't see any real reason for me to go with the floor or the rack or the Stomp XL, because they really don't suit me on. So Helix LT it is. Should be a really good amplifier. I'm going to go over all of the things I like about it, all the things I don't like about it. Thanks for watching. I do all these rant videos every once in a while. I've started making more videos. You guys seem to like it. We'll see where things go from here. Thanks for watching, guys.